Okay, fair enough. Doesn't want to. That's a bit irritating. Huh. Da, 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 da. No. Mm. Do, 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 do. Salam alaikum, whoever's come to my live. Oh, 2 people. Wow. Welcome. Salam. I apologise, I've yet to try and work out how I can turn it the other way round, as I tried it when I was in the setup, so it didn't completely stand where it was. But assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to my live. I'm here to speak about the Bosnian situation, about how social media can play an enormously positive position. And I'm now down to 0. I'm talking my bloody self. This is probably going to flop. This entire session is probably going to flop. Two-minute live and I've got no one. Well, I'm assuming that this will probably go live, that probably be recorded. So, without further ado, as I'm probably waiting for people to come aboard. It's already been 3 minutes, so I'll get started. Basically, we need to speak more about the Bosnian situation. We need to ascertain and work out unquestionably that the Bosnian situation itself must be discussed. Social media can have a powerful impact in maintaining the curve. We must understand unquestionably that if we jump ahead of this, we can avoid what happened in Myanmar. We can avoid what happened in Kashmir, what's going on around the world, especially what happens to the Uyghur Muslims. I mean, we all know the statement of the powerful statement that still resonates with me right now from Muhammad Hijab, where he said, "Tell the Uyghur who we are, la ilaha illallah." That is such a powerful resonating point of view that we should have something similar to the situations going on with the Serbian and Bosnians. Now, admittedly, it is a smaller, more micro-local point of view, but we cannot ignore the reality of what's going on. The social, economical, and political structure of the Ummah is based upon how we interact as a society, and we must interact as a society. We must be willing to talk to each other. We must be willing to grasp the situation that we stand on, and we must be willing to actually speak up about these problems. So if anybody's social media, everybody, anyone and everybody who sees this, everybody who will see this, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, everyone joining my live, you must take the moral stance, the moral position to use your social media to bring the world to be aware of the Bosnians. Because if the Serbians are looking for 30 years on, and many of you are too young, many of the kids on this app or multiple apps not aware of what happened in the 90s. I stood by as a white Christian man in horror in the 1990s, in the early 1990s, in the early 91, 92, and I watched with absolute gut-wrenching disgust at what happened inside of the collapse of the Yugoslavian Union. Now, you cannot remember this, but there were hotels that were being used to herd young women into to being, you can take a guess at the rest of it. I am trying to be as much PG as I can. These were the problems that the Serbians did. And the Serbians today are glorifying, wallahi, they are glorifying these very crimes. And these are things we cannot allow. If you have a social media platform, if you have the ability to speak upon these subjects, you must speak upon them. You must spend time necessary, because we can beat the curve. We can stop what happened to our Uyghur brothers and sisters. We can stop what's happening in Palestine every single day. We can stop what's going on in Kashmir. Bosnia can be a breaking point where the Muslims and the social media of Muslim society can move forward and pinpoint this situation. We must be willing, we must be able, and we must be unquestionably clear about what we're doing and how we're doing it. There's no illusions about who we are or what we're intending to do. Our social media platforms are a powerful voice. We very, very likely led to the downfall of Benjamin Netanyahu when everything was going on, when he pushed that bridge too far and we made an effort to save our Palestinian brothers and sisters. He screamed at TikTok. He screamed at all of them. So I'm telling you now, my young brothers, my young sisters, who I hope will see this YouTube, I caution you, what happened in Bosnia in the 1990s was absolutely horrifying. It was to the point where we had to actually send in NATO peacekeepers. And this is something that is of absolute prolific realization that we cannot and will not tolerate again. We have both the social media platform. One voice is not powerful. Wallahi, it's not. Unless you're Mohammed Hijab or Ali Dawa or Brother Shamsi or even my beautiful brother Scott Ilham or Rayan Ilham. But multiply our voices. Become a chorus for our Bosnian brothers and sisters. Become an absolute flock of voices, and your temperament, your mentality, your spoken word will explode onto the page. Now, don't take a historian's word for this. Wallahi, I have seen this happen. Time and time again, the very nature and power of social media cannot be underestimated. It will never be underestimated. It is the power of human nature. Combine that with every Muslim, every single one of you, whether you're 12, whether you're 15, whether you're 35, make sure your voice is heard and that the Western powers hear about Bosnia. Because when nationalist Serbs are talking about glorifying the crimes that were committed in the 90s, that is something for everyone to be concerned of. That is something for everyone, wallahi, for everyone to be concerned of, at all times, at all places. We're not fucking around here, yeah? This is serious business. There are people coming out glorifying the mixed race children, the forced children that happened in the 90s. Most of these kids don't even have a life with their Muslim families because of the shame and public disgrace that goes on with that. It's horrifying to think about how the lives of the war babies are being treated. If we wish to avoid these situations again in Serbia and in Bosnia and the Yugoslavian states, we must speak out. Your voice is powerful. I am one historian. You are multitude of the Muslim world around you. Wallahi, any one of you who not only, if you don't want to even speak, share this. Share this video to your family, to your friends. Share this video to your non-Muslim colleagues. I implore you, I beseech you to have the concentration and the ability to make the effort, the social, economical, verbal effort. We can beat the curve. We can prevent the Bosnian Serb action happening again. A very small amount of pressure from Europe is all it would take. The Serbians would crumble next day. I kid you not. Wallahi, they knew what happened the first time. We need to raise enough noise, enough word, enough physical material for the world to pay attention. And that is the critical crisis we live in. It's absolutely critical. There is no reservations about what we're saying and what we're doing. By all means, I'm more than happy to see questions if people are wanting to see what has been said. Ibrahim Adam, thank you for coming. I did expect you, to be honest. Alhamdulillah. Jessica, lovely to see you. Alhamdulillah. And again, as I state very clearly, anybody who wants to ask questions, go ahead. I'm more than happy to shoot them. But we're here to talk about the Bosnian situation. We cannot ignore it. It cannot be allowed to slide whilst these nationalists, and not just civilians, these aren't just civilian Serbs that are talking about this, threatening our Bosnian brothers and sisters. These are paramilitary motherfuckers as well. We cannot, Yahya's my name, brother. We cannot ignore the reality of what is coming right now, the reality that is sat in front of us. We have managed to have a glimpse of what is going on. I cannot thank my brother Abu Fessa far enough. I didn't even know this was going on myself, but then it lodged in my mind. We are ahead of this. No one's been physically hurt yet, but noise now needs to be built. We need to build a crescendo, a volume of us maintaining what it means. We must be willing and able and absolutely unquestionably moving forward. Assalamu alaikum. Oh, I see. Do you? Oh, give me a moment. Have a look at that. OIC do here. And why does OIC have something like NATO? I honestly do not know who OIC are. When can OIC do here, and why does the OIC have something like NATO? Mostly because NATO is paid for by powerful countries. NATO is, in essence, I think it is entirely plausible if we do not make organized Islamic countries. The reason is because the Islamic countries don't want to spend their money. Let's be fair. Wallahi, let's be brutal here. We're talking about money. We are talking about the money of, and I'm sorry to say, Arab lords. And we all know what the Arab lords think of the general Muslim population. They don't give a fuck about us. They don't care about me. They don't care about you. They don't care about anybody. They care about their oil money. They care about their gold money. They care about their trade money. And they care about that their pockets are lined. The Arab lords do not care. Anything on an organization level is based upon, does it make the Arab lords money? Not just the Arab lords. I'm being unfair to the Arab lords. Alhamdulillah. Let me be brutal about this. The Arabs and non-Arabs. Anybody in the Muslim world who's in power is only interested in his pocket. Wallahi, they've proven that 1,000-fold. Every Muslim country in the world is not Islamic. They engage in Islamic banks. So we must make as much noise as we can as a society. I do predict, CD, that we may be looking down that pipeline if we don't get ahead of the curve. And I genuinely feel that I need to get ahead of the curve. I need to be ahead of what's coming. I mean, the Arab people are beautiful, religious people, and this is not a slight at the Arab people. And many of times that they have revolted against their own corrupt leaders, and many times NATO has done everything in their power. My reservations on the Taliban are out still currently, and I still hold that. There is some good and bad news that's come out of Afghanistan ever since they took over. Wallahi, and I fundamentally, I stood up and I stand by my earlier statements when I made my earliest comments about NATO's withdrawal. It was a shit show, and I genuinely stand by the response that the NATO systems have unquestionably failed in every possible way going. But in all honesty, I hope they succeed in that way. They are still suffering from teething issues, so we will see. We will genuinely see. But yes, there is entirely plausible that we could see another massacre in Bosnia if we are not ahead of ourselves, if we are not leading ourselves forward. This is why we must push the social media issue first. We need to highlight to the West where many of us Muslims live nowadays. You know, there's a large population of Muslims. There's 1 million here, 1 million in France, 1 million in Germany. There's 1 million in more than 1 million in Britain. Do you know what I'm saying? With the wallahi, we are capable of expanding a voice. And if all of us expand our voice across Western Europe at the same time, Afghans are the one people I have told everyone. Wallahi, when the invasion happened, I said that invasion was done. That invasion was done when George Bush and that lot went. What was that you said there? I'm not sure what can be done because most Muslims don't even know that this is happening. Maybe you can connect with brothers like Mohammed Hijab, Ali Dawa. You see, this is one of the reasons you need to get my message out. This is, wallahi, this needs to be publicized. If you see my video, don't be afraid to stitch it, duet it via your camera phones and send it out. And let people see this message. The message is more important than me, but if you need to use me because you want to keep your privacy, wallahi, use me. Use me like and abuse me without any shadow of a doubt, because the message has to be got out. We have to speak on the Bosnian situation. Abu Faisal was very clear about this. We must be ahead of this curve. We have the opportunity to raise the volume of the Western Muslim men and women to the point where they hear us. No, I haven't. Could you possibly, Ibrahim, you've got me on Instagram. Send me their emails. I will email them. I will email them what I've said and my opinion. I think it's an excellent suggestion to hold. And I'm not looking for fame. I couldn't care less if they don't mention me. Wallahi, I wouldn't give a damn. If someone like Ali Dawa and Mohammed Hijab spoke out about this, I would be happy as pie. Because from my point of view, the message is far more important than the individual. And if their platforms can get this message out, fantastic. But we need to make more noise. It needs to be heard about what they've done. Abu Faisal brought it aware to me. I'm bringing it aware to you. I'm hoping this live will be able to proliferate people to seeing it, and will understand that the Bosnian people are in danger, because the Serbs are now glorifying the genocide. They're glorifying the crimes. Smile to gender would be a good option. Okay. I mean, anybody who has me on Instagram, please email me their email addresses, because I don't know these people, and I will make the effort to email them. I will spread the message, because as far as I'm concerned, the message is far more important. Far, far more important. And I will try to communicate with these people. I mean, I don't know what effort that'll get back from me, alhamdulillah, but I will try. I'm not ashamed or even afraid to speak up, but I think it needs to be spoken up. We need to speak more, because the more noise we make now, wallahi, we could save more lives tomorrow. If by making all this noise, nothing comes of it, alhamdulillah. What's my voice and your voice done harm in saying, watch Bosnia? What's going on in Bosnia? Wallahi, pay attention to Bosnia, brothers and sisters. And that's what we need to do. And we need to be willing to do that. In the options, email address. Wow, fantastic. Thank you very much, Ibrahim. I didn't even know you could look those up. Shows you how much I know about YouTube. I had no idea you could find someone's email address attached to their YouTube channels. Excellent. I'm going to do that. Thank you very much, Ibrahim. But as I was trying to get at, the noise that you make, the perpetration, the voice, the expulsion of air, even if we make the mistakes of nothing's happening, that it was just a blowover, we have still safeguarded our brothers and sisters in Bosnia. We have safeguarded them. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome. So if we can safeguard our brothers and sisters in Bosnia by speaking our voice, and nothing comes from it, and the Serbs do nothing about it, then as far as I'm concerned, that is a fantastic thing. But if they are planning to harm our Bosnian brothers and sisters, we must be ahead of this curve, because everybody who speaks up from this video, everybody who goes out and tweets their social media, everybody who uses their platform, no matter how small, is connecting more dots. And you encourage more people to dots. So let me give you an example. Let's say there's 7 people in this room now, 7 of us. If we all have the same 10 friends, let's say we all have the same 10 friends, we have the same connecting 10 people. I believe I do or I don't. I'm not entirely sure. But let's say of the 7, now 8 people in the room, that we have the all same connecting 10 people. Wallahi, if all those 10 people see us saying the same thing about Bosnia, 5 of them will see it serious. 5 of them will see it serious. So those 5 will then tweet to their next 10 friends. And if they're in the same circle, then another 5, then another 5. And that's how the momentum of social media moves. So do not underestimate your ability to talk about the Bosnian situation. Do not underestimate this, because the more the Muslim community sees this in feeds, in social media platform ability, the more that they grasp what is going on and how it's going on, they will then start moving. And as slowly as this ball rolls, it'll get moving. And we need to move the ball. There's no question about this, because I would rather then you've got 3 friends. Contact all 3 of them. Wallahi, get all 3 of them, because if one of them has more than 3 friends, if you are not the popular one and you've got a popular friend, drag the popular friend to this live. Wallahi, this is something that all the ummah should be a part of. The Bosnian people should not be allowed a second one of these dirty massacres. We should not in any way, shape or form allow a second Bosnian crisis to go on. What we need to do, without any reservations, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, everyone joining, we must speak up about the Bosnian situation. And the more that everybody joins and speaks up about the Bosnian situation, the better everyone is. Righteous, it's been a long time, brother. So the more we speak up about this, the more we share the social media, even with your family, like say your little sister or your little brother, you know, absolutely. Well, without a shadow of a doubt, Mahamud, but we have the opportunity to avoid another problem with the Bosnian people. We have the ability to literally push this back to the other way. I don't know. I have no idea, Ibrahim. It scares me too. But in all honesty, I think we can still carry them. We can still hold them to us. And the more noise we make on social media, all of us, every single person who sees this video, please make more noise. Please. Wallahi, I'm begging you. Please make more noise. Because even if, alhamdulillah, even if nothing comes of this, we have proven to the world we can beat the curve, that we can speak up about the problems involving Bosnia. And that way we prevent another example of what goes on in the Muslim world on a regular basis. You see, if you and your 5 friends contact their 5 friends and their 5 friends, it compounds. And as much as we all hate compounded interest, and Allah has forbidden us to engage in it, compounded voice is a beautiful thing, because it can move people and it can move countries. And they have always had the power to move people and move countries. This is the very nature of what it means to where we go. Every single person that comes to this live, everybody, you don't even need to share my life. Just tweet, message, communicate, talk to your inbox group, even if it's your family. Get your family talking about the Bosnians. Everyone should be talking about it, because that is what the Serbians don't want. They don't want them talking about it. Because if we start raising conversations across the entire British Muslim community, it then floats into the French Muslim community, it then floats into the German Muslim community and the Scandinavian Muslim communities, then the European Muslim community are talking about it. And with the European Muslim community are talking about it, wallahi, we're now starting to make traction. We are starting to move as a people. And this is a critical point of view where we sit. My girlfriend is completely squiffle. But let us be absolutely fair about this. Without any shadow of a doubt, we need to spread the message. Because the more noise we make about Bosnia, the more contextual ground we cross on the Bosnians, the less likely the Serbians are going to do something stupid. Because Serbia is not some superpower, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah? Britain could look at Serbia, behave, and that's it. It's over. But it's the lack of information out there that is the problem. Yeah? Because NATO eventually in 95 went on, arrested all their war criminals. The problem being is the Serbian military and the Serbian people today are glorifying these very acts and crimes. Now, even if, let's be hypothetical, let's take the devil's advocate and say this was fake news. I don't believe that, but let's say it was fake news. Raising awareness of even a fake attempt at a glorifying slaughter is something incredibly important, because it automatically shows people we are watching, we are listening, and we will use our voice to protect human life. And that is unquestionably one of the greatest things any human being can do. in any way, shape, or form. And we don't need to just pray to Allah as well, Samir. We need to act. Our Creator gave us our voice and our abilities. We are capable of speaking on these matters. And we are willing to speak on these matters. And wallahi, and I think that's a critical point. I think it's a beautiful point to hold as well. That we should not be afraid or ashamed of the realities of actually speaking up for our ummah. Because we know what our world leaders are. The Muslim world leaders are worthless. Wallahi, there are very few that I could even name that I would consider worthy of this. Bosnia and Herzegovina are the same countries, brother. Are they the same countries? I don't know, but I know of the Bosnian slaughter because I know of it. And this is what Abu Faisal was speaking to me about. So this is why I say we must make noise, verbal noise, so that people draw the attention. Do you know what I'm saying? And I completely agree with the suggestions of me emailing I think that's entirely possible, CD. And you know what? I don't even think NATO would object. I don't even think NATO would object because they're a NATO country. Yes, it's the same country. Again, black, white. I don't know these things. I'm only going by what I've heard say. But I saw when I was Christian what was going on in Bosnia in the 90s, and that was horrifying for me. Yeah, European countries tearing themselves apart, engaging in the disgusting acts that they did. Many youngsters don't see this stuff. Many youngsters don't even hear of this stuff, of actual European genocides that have gone on in their parents' lifetime. You know, I'm only 40. You know, this was going on in my life in Europe. Like I said, Bosnia could be intervened on Turkey, but the people need to hear it. And this is why it's so important for you to spread the message. Wallahi, it doesn't matter if you spread mine. I don't care who you tell or how you tell it. Just tell it. That's important. I'm not doing this for clout. I'm doing this for fear. I fear my Creator that I wasn't able to use my voice to protect Bosnian lives. And I think that's a critical point that we all must maintain ourselves on. If we are able, if we are bodily capable, if we have the social constructible mental faculties to guide and protect our brothers and sisters, we must and we should. Anyone want to ask any questions about the situation? I'm more than happy to answer them. Of the 5 guests I've managed to retain. I must admit, oh no, we've got 6 of us in the room. Wallahi, I've been live for 27 minutes. I haven't got more than 10 people. It is a test for all of us, but we should try to do our best to preserve our ummah in it as we can. In every possible way, we should do everything we can to preserve our ummah. In every aspect we have. No, I'm not bothered in that, Ibrahim, Adam. I'm not. I didn't do that for that. I couldn't care less. I care that if I get 5 people on this live, or even 10 people on this live, or 10 people see this live video when it goes up, and they then take that video and use it to raise awareness amongst other family members, wallahi, that will be worthwhile. Wallahi, that will be worthwhile. Because in the remote aspect that Abu Faisal has seen this and thinks it's not a genuine threat, and it turns out to be fake news, we make public apologies, we do our public apologies, we are still proactively protecting life. There is nothing wrong with that. There is nothing wrong when you're trying to preserve life. There is nothing wrong with that. I would rather be wrong and try to protect people. But okay, so explain the Bosnian conflict. So Yugoslavia collapsed. Are you aware that geopolitics Serbs may just... That's entirely plausible. And honestly, I'd prefer the Serbs to do that. Because if there isn't another bloodbath, divided smaller micro-states inside Europe do not bother me. Because you have a European umbrella. Yeah? Wallahi, if they want to live on their own, that's better than what Bosnia is. So Yugoslavia at the end of the Cold War, Basically, Yugoslavia separated from the Soviet Union, was an ally, and slowly started to disintegrate. Multiple parts of these countries wanted their own independence. The Serbians didn't necessarily want them. Yeah, I'm about to, brother. And in essence, as Yugoslavia disintegrated, the battlefield, relatively speaking, was an ideological one. The Serbs wanted to maintain the Yugoslavian state, whilst the various other people like Croatia, Bosnia, Herzegovina, these people didn't want to be part of this larger state. They wanted to run their own affairs. They wanted their own freedom. Many of these countries were forced to be together. Yeah, because it's Muslim land, exactly. Many of them were forced to be together at the collapse of the Turkish Empire. And had been Turkey and been Ottoman Turk for centuries beforehand. You know, again, Black White, I'm not disagreeing with you at all, not in the slightest. So, where has the Yugoslavian state fell apart? When it fell apart, the Serbians felt bitter. They felt resentful. They felt angry, and they attacked. And then things spiraled out. Hotels being used as pleasure sites where young, and I mean very young, Muslim girls and young ladies were dragged into, where ethnic cleansing like that was going on, where that was the first really European, modern European use of weaponized intercourse. I'm trying to be as civil as I can on this because I don't want to be flagged for it. But the Serbian conflict, the Serbian-Bosnian conflict was disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. What the Serbians did was nothing short of horrifying in a modern European state. The problem being is the lack of interest by the rest of NATO. It was the intervention didn't happen until 95. The Pakistani brothers, I've had Pakistani brothers and sisters who are religious completely disagree with that statement. I apologise to say. I've seen Pakistani brothers and sisters disagree with that. But as I was trying to continue, the conflict started in 92, Common Era, 1992. NATO didn't intervene until 95. I was a teenager and watched for 3 years before NATO got off its arse. Nukes never bring peace, brother. Personally, I would dissolve every single nuclear weapon on the planet. They are vile weapons. They are Nazi weapons. Wallahi, they are uncivilized weapons. Nuclear weapons do not secure peace. Peace. Peace be upon you and upon you be peace. One of the greatest sayings our prophet has ever said. Nuclear weapons are not peaceful. They are used as deterrents. They are disgusting devices. And I love you and I understand why you'd say that, because you're under this mindset that you're in this mindset that nuclear weapons bring security, and that is a false mindset. Nuclear weapons bring paranoia, they bring destruction, they bring coercion, they bring... Take a look at how North Korea has been ground into the ground for seeking nuclear weapons. Wallahi, that's literally much of the reasons why North Korea has been treated like that in the last 50 years. So I don't prescribe the path towards nuclear weapons to anybody, be they Western, Northern, or any other country, because it's a club of blood-sucking, nasty, corporate, evil human beings who control the nuclear weapons and use them as the militaries to beat people into their various trade agreements. This is why I don't agree with them in any way, shape, or form. But then that's because I'm human. CD, I understand your pragmatism in that. I don't agree with any of them on the planet. Does that make sense? I think from a historical point of view, they should all be erased. I don't. Let's be fair about this. There's no political reason for America to have invaded India. It doesn't have the resources they want. But India's nuclear development, I think. Oh, completely. No, black, white. I agree. That's why North Korea do. They think they will be destroyed. And let's be fair, South Korea wants to reunite. South Korea is the stronger country. Alhamdulillah, that is possible. It would be worth watching. But we're getting off topic. As I said, everybody, after this live, take the opportunity to inform friends, family, anybody you can connect to. And then, hopefully, the ball will start rolling. Start conversations about the Bosnians. Start conversations about the Bosnians. We need to bring people onto a fairness of it. People need to know, to hear, to vocabulate what we have. CD. CD, my realist. You've got to be real on this, dunya. We can hope for Allah. We can hope for Allah for that CD. No beefs, brothers and sisters. Everyone be kind and caring and loving to each other. That is what it means to be part of the Ummah. But it's been a pleasure having you all. I've been on this for 35 minutes now ranting. I hope to have at least connected to some people. And I'm going to get off and speak. I'm going to get off and speak to some people writing some nice emails. And let's see if we can start making more motions and movements. It has been a pleasure having you on my first ever live on YouTube. Wallahi, about something serious like Bosnia. Alhamdulillah. But it has been a pleasure having everyone on my lives. And thank you all for coming.